Hanna Kim stared at the paper in her hands. Her fingers shook as she read the words again and again. After 23 years of working at New Seoul Medical Station, they were letting her go. The paper used big words like budgetary restructuring and operational efficiency, but Hanna knew what it really meant. She was fired. The medical station floated in space near the edge of human territory. It was not fancy like the hospitals in the core worlds, but Hanna had always been proud to work there. She helped sick people from all over the galaxy. Humans, aliens, anyone who needed medical care could come to her station. At least that used to be true. Lee Tae-ho, her boss, sat behind his desk and would not look at her. He had been her friend once many years ago. Now he just looked tired and sad. "I am sorry, Hanna," he said quietly. "The new owners want to change everything. They only want to treat rich patients now." Hanna felt anger rise in her chest. What about the charity ward? What about all the poor people who need help? Tae-ho finally looked up at her. His eyes were red like he had not slept in days. "They are closing it down. They say it loses too much money." He picked up another paper from his desk. "The new company bought our station last month. They want to make it a luxury hospital for wealthy people from the inner planets." "This is wrong," Hanna said. Her voice was getting louder. "We are doctors and nurses. We are supposed to help everyone, not just rich people." "I know," Tae-ho said, "but I have no choice. If I do not do what they say, they will fire me too. I have a family to feed." Hanna understood, but it still hurt. She had trained him when he was a young doctor. She had worked double shifts to keep the station running. She had saved lives that other hospitals would not even try to help, and now they were throwing her away like garbage. She walked to her locker in the staff room. Other nurses and doctors watched her pack her things. Some looked sad. Others looked scared that they might be next. No one said anything. The new management had made it clear that anyone who complained would join Hanna on the street. Her locker was small, but she had worked here for so long that it was full of memories. Photos of patients she had helped, thank you cards written in dozens of different alien languages, a small plant that Dr. Chen had given her 5 years ago. She put everything in a box. As she walked through the medical station for the last time, Hanna saw how much it had already changed. The charity ward was mostly empty now. Poor patients were being turned away at the door. The emergency room had new rules about who could be treated for free. Everything was about money now. She stopped at bed number 12 in the general ward. An old Centaurian man lay there, his blue skin pale from sickness. His family could not afford the new treatment fees. In 2 days, he would be moved to a public facility on a distant planet. The trip would probably kill him. "Nurse Kim," the old alien said in broken human language. "I hear you are leaving." Hanna nodded. She did not trust herself to speak. "You are a good person," he said. "You helped my son when he was sick 3 years ago. You help many people. Do not let them make you bitter." Hanna squeezed his hand gently. "I will try," she whispered. She left the medical station through the main entrance. The security guards who used to greet her every morning did not even look up. To them, she was already gone, already forgotten. The station's commercial district was busy as always. Shops and restaurants served the thousands of people who lived and worked there. Most of them did not know that their medical care had just become much more expensive. They would find out soon enough. Hanna found a small bar in a quiet corner of the district. It was the kind of place where people went to drink alone and think about their problems. She ordered something strong and sat by herself at a corner table. The drink tasted awful, but it helped numb the pain in her chest. She had given her whole adult life to medicine. She had studied for years to learn how to treat different alien species. She had worked in dangerous places and saved lives that others said could not be saved. And for what? A news screen on the wall was showing reports about the medical industry. Companies were buying up hospitals and clinics all over human space. Healthcare was becoming a business, not a calling. Profits mattered more than patients. Hanna finished her drink and ordered another, then another. The alcohol made her feel dizzy, but it also made the anger go away for a while. She thought about what to do next. Maybe she could find work on another medical station. Maybe she could go back to school and learn a new profession. Maybe she could just give up on everything. The bar was getting crowded as the station's night shift ended. Workers came in to relax after long days. Hanna watched them laugh and talk with their friends. She felt very alone. A young human woman sat down at the next table. She was wearing a medical student uniform from the local training school. She kept looking at Hanna like she wanted to say something. Finally, the student came over. "Excuse me," she said. "Are you Hanna Kim, the nurse from the medical station?" Hanna nodded. "I heard what happened," the student said. "It is not fair. Everyone knows you are the best nurse on the station. You taught half the medical staff here." "Not anymore," Hanna said bitterly. The student looked sad. "My teacher says the whole healthcare system is changing. Money is more important than helping people now." Hanna stared into her empty glass. "Maybe your teacher is right. Maybe I am just too old to understand the new way." "No," the student said firmly. "The new way is wrong. We should not give up on helping people just because they are poor." After the student left, Hanna sat alone for a long time. Outside the bar's windows, she could see stars in the distance. Somewhere out there were billions of people who needed medical care. Some were rich and could afford the best treatment. Others were poor and would suffer because of it. She thought about the Centaurian man in bed 12. She thought about all the patients she would never help again. She thought about the medical students who were being taught that money mattered more than compassion. The alcohol was wearing off, and the pain was coming back. Hanna paid for her drinks and walked slowly back to her small apartment. Tomorrow she would have to figure out what to do with the rest of her life. Tonight she just wanted to sleep and forget about everything. As she walked through the station's corridors, she passed the medical wing where she had worked for so many years. The lights were still on and she could see doctors and nurses taking care of patients. But it felt different now. It felt cold and businesslike. Hanna reached her apartment and sat on her bed. She looked at the box of things from her locker. 23 years of her life in a small cardboard box. It did not seem like much. She lay down and closed her eyes. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight she just wanted to rest and remember when medicine was about helping people instead of making money. Hanna woke up with a terrible headache. The apartment felt too small and too quiet. She had nowhere to go and nothing to do. For the first time in over 20 years, she did not have to report to work at the medical station. She tried to eat breakfast, but the food tasted like nothing. She tried to watch news programs, but they only made her angry. Every story was about money and politics. No one seemed to care about regular people anymore. By afternoon, Hanna could not stay in her apartment any longer. She needed to walk and think. She put on her old jacket and left her small home behind. The station had different levels for different kinds of people. Hanna lived in the middle levels with other working people. Above them were the rich passengers and business owners. Below them were the poor areas that most people tried to avoid. Hanna found herself walking down toward the lower levels. She had been there many times as a nurse, helping people who got hurt in the dangerous jobs down there. The air was thicker and smelled like engine oil and recycled water. The lights were dimmer and many of them flickered or did not work at all. She passed bars and shops that stayed open all day and night. The people here looked tired and rough. Many of them had scars from accidents or fights. These were the workers who kept the station running, but no one thanked them for it. Hanna found a bar that looked slightly cleaner than the others. She sat at the counter and ordered a drink. The bartender was a middle-aged human man with grease under his fingernails. "You are not from around here," he said as he poured her drink. "I used to work at the medical station," Hanna replied. "Not anymore," the bartender nodded. "Heard they were making changes up there, firing good people and keeping the ones who just care about money." Hanna drank slowly and listened to the conversations around her. People talked about their jobs, their families, their problems. These were honest people who worked hard and tried to take care of each other. They reminded her why she had become a nurse in the first place. After several hours and too many drinks, Hanna decided to walk back to her apartment. The alcohol made her steps unsteady, but she needed the fresh air. She took a path through the salvage yards where old ships and equipment were torn apart for useful parts. The salvage yards were mostly empty at this time of day. Big machines sat silent between piles of metal and broken electronics. Security lights cast strange shadows everywhere. It was not a safe place to walk alone, but Hanna did not really care anymore. She was halfway through the yards when she heard it. A low sound like an animal in pain. It came from somewhere ahead of her near a pile of old shipping containers. Hanna stopped and listened. The sound came again. It was definitely some kind of creature, and it was definitely hurt. She should have turned around and gone home. The salvage yards were full of dangerous things. Wild animals sometimes got loose from cargo ships. There were also criminals who used the empty spaces to do bad things, but Hanna was a nurse. She had spent her whole adult life helping creatures in pain. Even drunk and unemployed, she could not just walk away from something that was suffering. She followed the sound through the maze of scrap metal and broken machines. The noise got louder as she got closer. It sounded like breathing, but heavy and difficult. Finally, she found the source of the sound. A huge shipping container had fallen over and was leaning against a pile of twisted metal. Underneath it, something was trapped. At first, Hanna thought it might be a person. Then she saw a flash of something that looked like scales in the dim light. As her eyes got used to the darkness, she realized what she was looking at. It was impossible, but there it was. A creature that looked like the dragons from old Earth stories, but real and alive. It was smaller than the dragons in movies, about the size of a small shuttle, but it was definitely a dragon. Its scales were dark blue and purple, and they seemed to shine with their own light. One of its wings was bent at a wrong angle, clearly broken. Blood, darker than human blood, pooled on the ground around it. The creature's breathing was shallow and quick. "Hey there," Hanna said softly, the way she talked to scared patients. "I am not going to hurt you." The dragon's head turned toward her. Its eyes were large and golden, and they seemed to look right into her soul. There was intelligence there, more than any animal she had ever seen. "You understand me, don't you?" Hanna whispered. The dragon made a soft sound, almost like a cat purring. It was still watching her, but it did not seem afraid. Hanna heard footsteps behind her. She turned to see Park Jiwoo, a man she knew from the medical station. He worked in the salvage yards, finding useful parts in old ships. "Nurse Kim?" Jiwoo said, surprised to see her. "What are you doing here?" "There is an injured animal," Hanna said. "It needs help." Jiwoo came closer and saw the dragon. His face went pale. "Stay away from that thing," he said quietly. "It has been trapped there for 2 days. Security knows about it, but they will not go near it. Why not?" "Because it is dangerous," Jiwoo said. "No one knows what it is or where it came from. Some people think it fell off a cargo ship. Others think it flew here from somewhere else." Hanna looked at the dragon again. It was still watching her with those intelligent golden eyes. She could see pain in them, but not anger or violence. "It is hurt," she said. "It needs medical attention." "It needs to be left alone," Jiwoo said firmly. "Come on, I will walk you back to the upper levels." But Hanna was not listening anymore. She was looking at the dragon's injuries with her trained nurse's eye. The broken wing was obvious, but there were other problems too. Cuts on its side that might be infected. The way it was breathing suggested possible internal injuries. She had her emergency medical kit with her. She always carried it even when she was not working. It was habit after so many years. "I have to help it," Hanna said. "Are you crazy?" Jiwoo asked. "That thing could kill you." Hanna opened her medical kit and checked her supplies. She had basic painkillers, antibiotics, bandages, and a few other things. Not much, but maybe enough to help. "Look at its eyes," she told Jiwoo. "This is not a wild animal. This is an intelligent being. It is in pain, and it needs help." The dragon made another soft sound. This time it sounded almost like it was agreeing with her. Hanna took a step closer. The dragon watched her but did not move away. She held out her hand slowly, the way she would approach a scared child. "I am a nurse," she said to the dragon. "I help people when they are hurt. I want to help you too." The dragon looked at her hand for a long moment. Then very carefully it moved its head forward until its nose almost touched her fingers. Its skin was warm and smooth, not cold like she had expected. "This is insane," Jiwoo muttered, but he did not try to stop her. Hanna opened her kit and took out a small scanner. It was designed to work on humans and most common alien species, but maybe it would tell her something useful about the dragon. "I am going to check your injuries," she said to the dragon. "Try not to move." The scanner beeped and showed readings that made no sense. The dragon's body temperature was much higher than any creature she knew. Its heart rate was very slow but very strong. There were energy readings that her scanner could not identify, but she could see the obvious problems without fancy equipment. The broken wing needed to be set properly. The cuts needed to be cleaned and closed. The dragon needed fluids and probably antibiotics. "Jiwoo," she said without looking away from the dragon. "I need your help." "To do what?" "To save a life." Jiwoo was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed and came closer. "What do you need me to do?" Hanna smiled for the first time in days. Maybe she was unemployed. Maybe she was drunk. Maybe she was making the biggest mistake of her life, but she was doing what she was born to do. She was helping someone who needed it. First, she said, we need to get this container off of it. Then we are going to perform some very unusual medical procedures. The dragon watched them both and made a sound that almost sounded like agreement. Its golden eyes seemed to say thank you in a language older than words. Hanna had no idea what she was getting herself into. She just knew that she could not walk away from a creature in pain. It was not in her nature, and it never would be. It took Hanna and Jiwoo 3 hours to safely move the heavy container. They used equipment from the salvage yard and worked very carefully. The dragon stayed calm the whole time, as if it understood they were trying to help. When the container was finally moved, Hanna could see the full extent of the dragon's injuries. Besides the broken wing, there were deep cuts on its side and back. One of its legs was also hurt, but the dragon was alive and alert, which was a good sign. We need to move it somewhere safe, Hanna said. Somewhere I can work. Jiwoo scratched his head. There is an old medical supply warehouse not far from here. The company that owned it went out of business last year. It still has some equipment inside. They spent another hour figuring out how to transport the dragon. It was too big to carry, but it could move slowly if they supported its injured wing. The dragon seemed to understand what they wanted to do and tried to help. The warehouse was dark and dusty, but it had what Hanna needed. Old medical beds, some basic equipment, and even running water. Jiwoo helped her set up a makeshift operating area. I need supplies, Hanna told him. Antibiotics, painkillers, materials to make a cast for the wing. Where am I supposed to get all that? Jiwoo asked. Choi Min-ho runs a medical supply business in the lower levels. He does not always ask questions about where his supplies go. Jiwoo nodded. I know Min-ho. What do I trade for the supplies? Hanna looked at her few possessions. She had some jewelry that her grandmother had given her. A small savings account. Not much, but maybe enough. Tell him I will pay cash, she said. And tell him it is for a very special patient. While Jiwoo went to get supplies, Hanna stayed with the dragon. She cleaned its wounds with water and tried to make it comfortable. The dragon watched everything she did with those intelligent golden eyes. I wish I knew more about your species, Hanna said as she worked. I have never treated anyone like you before. The dragon made a soft humming sound. Then something amazing happened. Hanna felt a warm feeling in her head, like someone was sharing a memory with her. She saw images of the dragon's body from the inside like a medical scan. She could see how its bones were supposed to fit together, how its blood moved through its body. Did you just show me that? She asked, amazed. The dragon hummed again, and Hanna felt another warm feeling. This time she saw images of plants and minerals, things that could help with healing. The dragon was teaching her how to treat its injuries. When Jiwoo returned with the medical supplies, he found Hanna talking quietly to the dragon like it was an old friend. Min-ho says hello, Jiwoo told her. He also says you are either very brave or very crazy. Probably both, Hanna admitted. Help me set up this equipment. Working on the dragon was unlike anything Hanna had ever done. Its body worked differently from humans or any alien species she knew. Its bones were hollow like a bird's, but much stronger. Its blood was dark blue and seemed to glow slightly in the dim light. The most amazing thing was how fast the dragon healed once Hanna started treating it properly. She used the images the dragon had shared with her to guide her work. When she set the broken wing bone, it began to mend almost immediately. This is impossible, Jiwoo whispered as he watched the dragon's cuts close up after Hanna applied antibiotic cream. Maybe, Hanna said, but it is happening. She worked for hours, cleaning wounds, setting bones, and giving the dragon fluids through a tube. The dragon stayed very still and let her do whatever she thought was necessary. Sometimes it would share more images with her, showing her how to do something better. As the night went on, Hanna realized she was not just treating a patient. She was learning from a being that understood medicine in ways she had never imagined. The dragon's body used energy differently than any creature she knew. Its cells could repair themselves much faster than normal if they had the right conditions. It is like treating a living work of art, Hanna told Jiwoo during a break. Everything about it is beautiful and perfect. It is also very alien, Jiwoo said. Where do you think it came from? Hanna looked at the dragon, which was resting with its eyes closed, somewhere very far away. And I think it has been traveling for a long time. The dragon opened one golden eye and looked at her. Then Hanna felt another warm feeling in her head, stronger than before. This time she saw images of space, stars, and other worlds. She saw the dragon flying between planets, traveling incredible distances, but she also saw something scary. Dark shapes chasing the dragon through space, things that looked like shadows with teeth and claws. The dragon had been running from something when it crashed on the station. "You were being hunted," Hanna said softly. The dragon made a sad sound and nodded its great head. "What was chasing you?" More images filled Hanna's mind. She saw creatures that seemed to be made of darkness and hunger. They fed on the life energy of other beings, especially creatures like dragons that had strong life force. "Void hunters," she whispered, somehow knowing the name. The dragon shared one more image with her. It showed Hanna herself working to heal its injuries. But in the dragon's mind, she glowed with a warm light that pushed back the darkness. To the dragon, she was not just a nurse. She was a healer who could fight against the forces that wanted to destroy life. By morning, the dragon was much better. Its wing was healing rapidly, though it would still need time to become strong enough for flying. The cuts on its body were almost completely closed. Most importantly, the pain was gone from its golden eyes. Hanna was exhausted but happy. She had done something that should have been impossible. She had saved the life of a creature that most people did not even believe existed. "What happens now?" Jiwoo asked. "We cannot keep it here forever." Hanna did not know the answer. The dragon was still not strong enough to fly away, and even if it was, the void hunters might still be looking for it. "We take it one day at a time," she said, like any patient. The dragon lifted its head and looked at both of them. Then it made a sound that Hanna was sure was meant to say thank you. It touched her hand gently with its nose, the same way a cat might show affection. For a moment, Hanna felt a connection deeper than anything she had ever experienced. The dragon was not just grateful for her help. It was bonding with her, accepting her as part of its family. She had lost her job for caring too much about her patients. Now she had found a patient that cared about her in return. Maybe this was the start of something new, something better than anything she had lost. "Rest now," she told the dragon. "You are safe here." The dragon closed its eyes and settled down to sleep. Its breathing was deep and peaceful now, no longer labored with pain. Hanna sat beside it and watched it rest. She had no idea what the future would bring, but for the first time since losing her job, she felt like she had found her purpose again. She was exactly where she was supposed to be, doing exactly what she was meant to do. Outside the warehouse, the station continued its daily routine, but inside, a human nurse and an ancient dragon had formed a bond that would change everything. Hanna just did not know it yet. The dragon's scales shimmered gently in its sleep, and Hanna could swear she heard it purring like a content cat. She smiled and finally allowed herself to rest too. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight they were both safe and healing. Hanna woke up on the floor of the warehouse with her back aching and her clothes wrinkled. She had fallen asleep next to the dragon sometime during the night. Sunlight was coming through the dirty windows, which meant it was already late morning. The dragon was awake and looking much better. Its wing was still bandaged, but the swelling had gone down. The cuts on its body were healing so fast that Hanna could barely see them anymore. Most amazing of all, the dragon's scales were getting brighter and more colorful. "Good morning," Hanna said, stretching her sore muscles. The dragon made a happy humming sound and gently touched her shoulder with its nose. Hanna felt that warm feeling in her head again, and she saw images of gratitude and friendship. "You are welcome," she said, understanding what the dragon was trying to tell her. Jiwoo arrived with breakfast and coffee. "How is our patient today?" he asked. "Much better," Hanna said. "I think it might be strong enough to fly soon." The dragon shared another image with Hanna. She saw it flying through space, leaving the station behind. But there was sadness in the image, too. The dragon did not want to leave her. "I know," Hanna said softly. "I will miss you, too." They spent the morning checking the dragon's injuries and changing its bandages. Hanna was amazed at how fast it was healing. In just one day, it had recovered from injuries that should have taken weeks to heal. "I should get back to my apartment," Hanna finally said. "I need to shower and change clothes, and I should probably start looking for a new job." The dragon looked sad when she said she was leaving. It made a low sound that reminded Hanna of a dog whining when its owner left for work. "I will come back later," she promised. "You need to rest and get stronger." The walk back to her apartment took Hanna through the busier parts of the station. People were going about their daily lives, working and shopping and talking with friends. No one knew that a dragon was healing in an old warehouse just a few levels below them. Hanna's apartment felt strange and empty after spending so much time with the dragon. She took a long shower and put on clean clothes. Then she sat on her bed and tried to figure out what to do next. She had spent all of her savings on medical supplies for the dragon. She had no job and no prospects, but somehow she felt better than she had in months. Helping the dragon had reminded her why she became a nurse in the first place. Her computer was beeping with messages. Most of them were from the employment office, offering her low-paying jobs on distant stations. One was from her old supervisor, Tae-ho, asking if she wanted to meet for lunch. Hanna was just starting to reply to the messages when her apartment's proximity alarm started making noise. The alarm only went off when very large ships came near the station. Usually that meant a cargo freighter or a passenger liner was arriving. She looked out her window to see what was causing the alarm. What she saw made her think she was still dreaming. 4 enormous ships were hanging in space near the station. They were unlike anything Hanna had ever seen. They looked like they were made of crystal and starlight, with smooth curves and flowing lines that seemed to change as she watched them. The ships were huge, each one bigger than the entire medical station. They did not look like human ships or like any alien ships she knew about. They looked like works of art that happened to be able to fly through space. Hanna's communication screen came on automatically. The face of Yoon Dae-jung, the station administrator, appeared. He looked frightened and excited at the same time. "Attention all residents of New Seoul Medical Station," he said in a shaky voice. "We are currently receiving diplomatic contact from an unknown alien civilization. Please remain calm and stay in your quarters until further notice. This is not a drill." Hanna stared at the beautiful ships outside her window. She had a strange feeling that their arrival was connected to the dragon somehow. But that was impossible, right? Her apartment door chimed, which meant someone was asking to come in. Hanna checked the security screen and saw a figure standing in her hallway. It looked like a person, but not quite human. The figure was tall and thin, with features that seemed to shift slightly in the light. "Who is it?" Hanna asked through the intercom. "Honored healer Hanna Kim," the figure said in perfect Korean. Its voice was beautiful, like music made into words. "I am Vel Kithara, speaker for the Draconic Consortium. We have come to honor you." Hanna's heart nearly stopped. "Draconic Consortium?" "Yes, honored one. We understand that you have shown great kindness to one of our young princes. We wish to thank you properly." Hanna opened her door with shaking hands. The being in her hallway was definitely not human, but it was not frightening. It was tall and graceful, with skin that seemed to glow softly. Its clothes looked like they were woven from starlight. "You are dragons?" Hanna asked. "We are," Velkithara said with a slight bow, "though we can take many forms when needed." "May I enter your dwelling?" Hanna stepped aside to let the dragon being into her apartment. Velkithara moved with incredible grace, as if it was floating rather than walking. "The young prince you saved is very important to our people," Velkithara explained. "His full name translates to something like Prince of the 17 Nebulae, in your language. You may know him as Bjol." "Bjol," Hanna repeated. She had started calling the dragon that because it meant star in Korean. She had no idea she was talking to royalty. "By saving his life, you have performed what we consider the highest possible honor," Velkithara continued. "You have preserved the continuity of our ancient bloodline. For this, the Dragon Consortium wishes to offer you our deepest gratitude." Hanna sat down heavily on her bed. "I just helped an injured creature. I did not know it was a prince." "That makes your actions even more honorable," Velkithara said. "You helped him not because of who he was, but because he needed help. This is rare among the younger species." Through her window, Hanna could see the 4 crystal ships still hanging in space. Other windows throughout the station were lit up with people staring at the impossible sight. "Those ships are yours?" she asked. "They are part of our diplomatic fleet," Velkithara confirmed. "We do not often reveal ourselves to other species, but young Prince Bjol has told us remarkable things about you. He says you have a gift for healing that goes beyond normal medical knowledge." Hanna thought about the images the dragon had shared with her, the way it had taught her how to treat its injuries. "He taught me more than I taught him. He says you glowed with inner light when you worked to heal him," Velkithara said. "He says you pushed back the darkness that the Void Hunters bring wherever they go." "The Void Hunters are real?" Velkithara's expression became serious. "They are very real. and they are a threat to all life in the galaxy. They hunt creatures like us for our life energy. Young Prince Biol was fleeing from them when he crashed on your station. Is he safe now? He is, thanks to you. But the Void Hunters are still out there, still hunting. This is part of why we have come. Hanna's communication screen came on again. Administrator Yoon appeared, looking even more nervous than before. Nurse Kim, he said, we understand that the alien delegation wishes to speak with you specifically. Would you be willing to meet with them? The safety of everyone on this station may depend on it. Hanna looked at Velkathara, who nodded encouragingly. Tell him I will meet with them, Hanna said. Excellent, Velkathara said. Our elder matriarch is waiting aboard our flagship. She very much wants to meet the human who saved a dragon prince. What does she want from me? To offer you something that no human has ever been offered before, Velkathara said mysteriously. But first, would you like to see Prince Biol in his true form? He is quite magnificent when he is healthy. Hanna nodded eagerly. She had grown attached to the dragon during their time together. She wanted to make sure he was really okay. Then please come with me to our ship, Velkathara said. I promise you will be safe. You are now under the protection of the Dragon Consortium. As they left her apartment, Hanna wondered what she was getting herself into. A few days ago, she was an unemployed nurse with no future. Now she was being invited aboard alien ships to meet dragon royalty. But she had learned something important while treating the injured dragon. Sometimes the most impossible things turned out to be the most important ones. Sometimes helping others led to adventures you never could have imagined. The corridor outside her apartment was full of people staring out windows at the crystal ships. When they saw Hanna walking with the alien being, they whispered and pointed. She was already becoming famous whether she wanted to be or not. Administrator Yoon was waiting at the docking bay with a full security team. He looked relieved when he saw Hanna. Nurse Kim, he said, I want you to know that whatever these aliens want, the station will support you completely. Hanna almost laughed. A few days ago, this same man had been happy to see her fired. Now he was treating her like the most important person on the station. Thank you, Administrator, she said politely. A small shuttle that looked like a flying jewel was waiting to take them to the Dragon flagship. As Hanna stepped aboard, she wondered what other impossible things were about to become possible. The adventure was just beginning. The inside of the Dragon shuttle was even more beautiful than the outside. The walls seemed to be made of living crystal that glowed with soft light. Hanna could not see any controls or instruments, but the shuttle moved smoothly through space toward the largest of the 4 ships. How does it fly? Hanna asked Velkathara. Dragon technology works differently from what most species use, Velkathara explained. We blend what you might call science with what you might call magic. The line between them is not as clear as younger species believe. Through the shuttle's transparent walls, Hanna could see the Dragon flagship getting bigger and bigger. It was enormous, like a floating city made of crystal and starlight. She could see other dragons flying around it in their natural forms, their scales glittering in the light of distant stars. The shuttle landed in what looked like a garden inside the ship. There were plants and trees from dozens of different worlds, all growing together in perfect harmony. The air smelled like flowers and rain. Welcome to the stellar harmony, Velkathara said as they stepped out of the shuttle. This ship has been the flagship of our diplomatic fleet for over 3,000 of your years. Hanna followed Velkathara through corridors that curved and flowed like they had grown naturally instead of being built. Everything was beautiful and peaceful. She saw other dragon beings walking around in humanoid form, but she also saw actual dragons flying through larger spaces. There he is, Velkathara said, pointing to a young dragon perched on a crystal platform ahead of them. Hanna recognized Biol immediately, even though he looked very different now. His scales were bright and colorful, shifting between blue and purple and gold. His wing was completely healed, and he was much larger than she remembered. But his eyes were the same intelligent golden eyes that had looked at her with trust in the dark warehouse. When Biol saw Hanna, he made a joyful sound and flew down to land beside her. He was careful not to knock her over with his wings, but he touched her gently with his nose the same way he had before. Hello, Biol, Hanna said, stroking his smooth scales. You look much better. Biol shared images with her mind again, but these were different from before. She saw how grateful he was, how much her kindness had meant to him. She saw that dragons valued life and healing above almost everything else. He says you saved more than just his body, Velkithara translated. You saved his spirit as well. The Void Hunters not only attack physical forms, they also try to destroy hope and kindness. By helping him when you had no reason to do so, you proved that such darkness cannot win. Velkithara led them deeper into the ship, to a vast chamber with a ceiling that showed the stars outside. In the center of the chamber was the largest dragon Hanna had ever imagined. This dragon was ancient and magnificent, with scales that looked like they contained entire galaxies. This is Elder Matriarch Suvelthran, Velkithara said with deep respect. She has lived for over 10,000 years and leads our people in matters of diplomacy and wisdom. The ancient dragon looked at Hanna with eyes that held the depth of centuries. When she spoke, her voice filled Hanna's mind like gentle thunder. Young human healer, the elder matriarch said, you have done something remarkable. You saved the life of a dragon prince without knowing who he was or expecting any reward. This is the kind of pure compassion that we have been searching for among the younger species. Hanna felt very small standing before this ancient being, but not afraid. There was infinite kindness in the elder matriarch's presence. I just did what any nurse would do, Hanna said. No, the elder matriarch replied. Most of your kind would have been afraid or would have seen only potential profit. You saw a being in pain and acted to heal that pain. This is why we wish to make you an offer. The elder matriarch gestured with one great wing, and the stars above them changed to show images of the galaxy. Hanna could see thousands of planets and space stations all connected by lines of light. We dragons are much older than your species realizes, the elder matriarch explained. We have been traveling between the stars since before your world developed complex life. We have watched many species rise and fall. The images changed to show different alien civilizations. Some looked familiar to Hanna, but others were completely strange. Most species, when they develop space travel, become focused on conquest or profit, the elder matriarch continued. But occasionally we find a species with different potential, a species capable of true compassion and wisdom. Humanity is such a species, Velkithara added. We have been watching your people as they spread across the galaxy. You have great potential for both good and evil. But individuals like you give us hope. The images above them changed again, showing hospitals and medical facilities throughout human space. Your species has developed impressive medical technology, the elder matriarch said. But like most young species, you have allowed that technology to become a tool for profit rather than healing. The galaxy needs healers who work for compassion, not money. Hanna thought about her old job, about how the medical station had been turned into a business instead of a place of healing. What are you asking me to do? She said. We want to offer you a position as Chief Medical Officer for the Dragon-Human Alliance, the elder matriarch said. We wish to establish medical facilities throughout human space that provide free care to anyone who needs it, regardless of their ability to pay. Hanna's mind reeled. Dragon-Human Alliance? The Void Hunters that were chasing young Prince Biol are part of a larger threat, Velkithara explained. They are an interdimensional empire that feeds on the life energy of entire species. They have noticed humanity's rapid expansion and unique neural patterns. They will come for your people eventually. We dragons have fought the Void Hunters for millennia, the elder matriarch added, but we cannot protect all life in the galaxy alone. We need allies, partners who share our commitment to preserving life rather than destroying it. The images above them showed dark shapes moving between the stars, the same shadowy creatures that had been chasing Biol. Humanity has qualities that make you natural allies for us, the elder matriarch said. Your adaptability, your capacity for compassion, your ability to find hope in difficult situations. Individuals like you prove that your species can be trusted with great responsibility. Hanna looked at Biol, who was watching her with encouraging eyes. She thought about all the patients she had helped over the years, all the lives she had saved. She thought about the Centaurian man in bed 12, who would probably die because he could not afford treatment. What would this alliance mean? She asked. Dragon technology and resources combined with human innovation and compassion, Velkithara said. Medical facilities that can heal injuries and diseases that current technology cannot touch. A network of healers working throughout the galaxy to preserve and protect life. And in return? Hanna asked. You help us establish connections with human governments and medical organizations, the elder matriarch said. You train other humans in the healing arts as we practice them. You help us prepare for the coming threat of the Void Hunters. Hanna was quiet for a long moment, thinking about everything they had told her. It seemed impossible, but then again so had healing a dragon in an abandoned warehouse. The same compassion that cost you your old job makes you perfect for this new one, Velcathera said gently. The galaxy needs healers who cannot be bought or corrupted, who will help anyone who needs help. Biol shared one more image with Hanna's mind. She saw herself working in a beautiful medical facility, treating patients from dozens of different species. She saw human and dragon healers working together, sharing knowledge and techniques. She saw a galaxy where medical care was a right, not a privilege. I accept, Hanna said. The elder matriarch made a sound that might have been laughter. We hoped you would. There is much work to do, but we believe you are the right person to help us do it. Hanna's communication device beeped. A message was coming in from Administrator Yoon back on the station. Nurse Kim, Yoon's voice was panicked. I want you to know that I made a mistake letting you go. The medical station needs nurses like you. We are prepared to offer you any position you want, any salary you name if you will just put in a good word with our new alien friends. Hanna smiled and looked at the elder matriarch. May I respond to that? Of course. Hanna activated her communicator. Administrator Yoon, thank you for your offer, but I already have a new job. I will be working with the Dragon Consortium to establish free medical facilities throughout human space. People like the Centaurian man in bed 12 will never have to worry about affording treatment again. There was a long silence from the communicator. Then Yoon's voice came back, much quieter. I see. Well, congratulations on your new position. Hanna closed the communication channel and looked around at her new colleagues. Dragons who had lived for centuries, beings of incredible wisdom and power, and they wanted her help to heal the galaxy. When do I start? She asked. Immediately, Velcathera said. Our first project will be converting your old medical station into a demonstration facility. A place where human and dragon healing arts can be combined for the benefit of all. Biol made a happy sound and nuzzled Hanna's shoulder. Through their mental link,